So a lot of you guys clicked on the title for a reason, and this being about anime adventures, this is actually my second video this week about anime adventures, but this is for good cause. So first off, thanks for clicking on the video. And then second, we've had some pretty interesting news about anime adventures come up, and one of that being that they are still working on the game and they are currently working on an update. And you can go look at my Boss Brandon video that I did where it was the Boss X Anime Adventures video. I showed a lot of receipts and examples as to them actually working on the game. And in that video I said take it with a grain of salt because I genuinely thought that, but now we have a lot more concrete proof. So I'm just gonna go on ahead and say it's basically confirmed Anime Adventures is getting an update. Now, whether that means they're going to cancel or not, I can't know that. But Anime Adventures coming back is a very hot topic in the tower defense scene because obviously the relaunch for the game was completely awful. I did enjoy it somewhat, but I feel like I enjoyed it a little bit just because I was optimistic for the future, because they were talking about how the game's going to improve and how the game's going to catch up to current day tower defense games and how they're aware that they are far behind. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, wow, they know, they're self-aware and they know. But obviously they weren't really that self-aware because look where the game is now. Regarding that though, can Anime Adventures actually come back? So that is a very hard question, and I don't think there is just a solid answer for it. If you hate the game, you're probably going to say no, and if you love the game, you're probably going to say yes. And honestly, I'm kind of split in between both of those answers because I love the game and I hate the re-release. So I think regarding that question, there's a few stipulations to that, and my first stipulation being the models. So some people actually don't mind the models, and I'm kind of, like I said, halfway on that. I do and don't mind them. I think they are a little ugly, but regardless, you're playing a game called Anime Adventures, and when you open a game called Anime Adventures, you want to use your favorite anime characters, because that's the whole point, and that's the whole foundation this game was built on. So when you open the game after the re-release, and you see, oh, my favorite character, Jolene Kujo from JoJo, now literally has Roblox female bacon hair on her head. You're like, are you serious? What is this? And the models is probably the biggest thing I've seen people complain, literally larger than anything else, because it is pretty infuriating. We've seen Anime Defenders do the same route, and look where the game landed. It literally just got a couple months in and people were like, okay, I can't even recognize these characters anymore. And the only people who were playing it were botters. So Anime Adventures, a lot of people don't want to follow down. A lot of people don't want to see Anime Adventures follow down that same route because we know what's at the end of it is the game's death. Anime Adventures was also known for having really good models, which I do think they kept up after the game's re-release. The models aren't like super in-depth crazy like Anime Vanguards, but they were good. They were simple, they were clean, they needed what they needed to be, which I think was good. And obviously, the re-release models, the ones where they changed how characters look to like the weird, gross new characters like Stitches, the goat, is not a good look for them. But models is going to be my first point. My second point is going to be mechanics. So the longer Anime Adventures takes to re-up their game and re-release the game as a whole, the worse it gets for them. And the reason I say that is because the longer they wait, the more the games evolve. The reason Anime Adventures was getting complained about for being and feeling old was because the game basically re-released as the same as it was 1 year ago, and anime tower defense games changed a lot in 1 year, so they were just so far behind gameplay wise, mechanics wise, visual wise, that they kind of struggled to get off their feet there. Now, how is that avoidable? It's very simple. They just update the game to be a current day game with current day mechanics. Introduce new interesting mechanics. I think the days of having no passives on your characters is far gone. Obviously, there's still games like astd that don't do passives, but you're literally watching the game struggle to even stay alive because of that reason. So it should be pretty obvious by now that people like characters that are different from each other and that do special things, which Anime Adventures actually was starting to do a little bit right at the end there. So I think that's a problem they've already got solved. Next issue, Anime Adventures needs interesting game modes. So after re-release, we got the Christmas event, we got dungeons, we got portals, and we got the April Fool's event. So Christmas event is the same thing we've seen over and over again from Anime Adventures, recycled, so people were very disappointed by that. Dungeons was actually something new. As of right now, they were the first people to kind of do like a roguelike game mode, unless I'm wrong, right? If I'm wrong, please let me know down in the comments. But they did it before Vanguards, which is actually pretty interesting. And I think Dungeons was a good mechanic. It gave you good rewards, had an amazing character in it. It gave you an insane amount of rerolls. The only problem with it was because Anime Adventures is just such a slow game, it took forever to do. Next is portals. I mean, people don't really like portals, but they're okay with them here and there, right? Because it's like the classic anime tower defense game mode, and people are okay with it. And then finally we had the April Fool's event, which was kind of something unique. It was the same tried and true like event formula of it's just this own little separate corner of the map that you walk into. You get zapped straight into a map and you have to play the new event, but at least they had a special spin on it, because with Christmas and Halloween it was, oh, literally just use the new characters and new skins and you do more damage. But no, with the April Fool's event, you actually got to use random characters that you had on your team, and there were random modifiers you could put, duplication or buffing. There was a lot of cool things actually with that game mode, in my opinion. So I think the April Fool's event was actually a success. I think they did a really good job with that. But my point still being, Anime Adventures, I mean, 2 of those game modes were unique, and the other 2 were just recycled, basically. So I think they just really struggle with having new content. The problem is, all these new anime tower defense games have gotten people accustomed to getting pretty high quality or new content every update, and when you don't do that, people get upset, and that's essentially the trap they ran into. The reason I also said they were falling behind, and if they take more time they're going to fall behind again, is because we're basically, I would say, entering a new era of tower defense games already. Because Vanguards is turning a year old, Defenders is turning a year old. That whole era is, I don't want to say starting to pass, right, because it's only a year, but there's so many new tower defense games coming out, and some of them I've even shown, and they are ridiculously high quality. Some, I would say, the same quality or even higher quality than Vanguards, which is crazy. So we truly are entering a new era of tower defense games, and I'm going to make a video about that. It's probably already up as of recording it. Go check it out. But yeah, my point of saying all of this is it is detrimental for Anime Adventures to get this right, because this is their last shot. I've seen a lot of people say, I'm not going to play the game when it comes out, right? I think when Anime Adventures updates eventually, it's probably going to jump to like 100k players, maybe a little bit under that. I think what's going to happen is it's going to be one of those things like Vanguards where it takes a little bit, because it's going to be word of mouth of people saying the game's good again, or maybe the game's ass and they want to try it out. But they need to get these things right, because like I said, this is their last chance, and if they screw up this chance, Anime Adventures is gone forever. Truthfully, I want the game to succeed, and I'm sure a lot of you guys too. So yeah, that's will Anime Adventures really come back. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And with all that being said, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.